Tell me when.
I'm going.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to be gone because I'm sick. Double bronchitis. You don't want to be next to me anyways. Okay. Today, after you already corrected your 5.1, we're going to go over 5.2, which is talking about how to write linear equations, all right, with a slope and with a point. Little quote for you, okay? Let no one ever come to you without leaving better. That's actually Mother Teresa. So, here we go. Now, throughout this lesson, sometimes you're going to want to pause it because you're going to want to get stuff down. And I'm just telling you to pause it now after you write down here. To be able to write an equation with the line in slope-intercept form, the first thing you always want to do is find slope. And these steps are going to stay the same all the way throughout the rest of the chapter. Always find slope first. And if you remember, it's always our m value. And since I can't ask you what slope-intercept form is, once again, it's y equals mx plus b. Our m is our slope. Next thing you want to find is your y-intercept. And to be able to find your y-intercept, you either A, can look at your graph, or sometimes you have to plug in your slope and a coordinate, okay? So say you get a coordinate that's 2, 1 on your graph, you plug this in to be able to solve for your y-intercept. And then the third thing and the last thing is you'd plug in your slope, you'd plug in your y-intercept, so it would look something like this. So once again, x and y will always be found in them. Now if we keep going to our first example, it says write the equation of a line that passes through this point, 6, 3, and has a slope of -2. Well, right off the bat, if you remember our steps, it says first thing, what's our slope? This is really nice because it says, okay, your slope is -2. So you put slope equals -2. Second step, we have to find our y-intercept, or our b value. And we don't know. We don't know. And so that's where we have to use our slope-intercept equation of y equals mx plus b. We have to plug in 6, 3. Well, 6 is our x value, 3 is our y value. So if we plug that in, we get 3 equals, our slope is -2, our x value is 6, and our y-intercept is going to be the thing that, or the variable we're solving for. And since we're solving for b, we should probably simplify this. So 3 equals -2 times 6 is -12 plus b. Now, opposite of a -12, and since there's a plus sign, is adding 12 to both sides. So when we add 12 to both sides, we find out that our y-intercept, or our b value, is 15. Now, last and final step, it says plug in your slope and plug in your y-intercept. And so if you want to just remember y equals mx plus b, it's like the Holy Grail. You're going to want to remember it this whole chapter because this whole chapter is based on this equation. Then you put y equals, you plug in your slope, which is -2, and you find out that your y-intercept is 15, so you put plus 15. And you just solved your very first equation, only knowing your slope and only knowing a point. And this is our line. Now we're just going to get some more practice, except, okay, we have our point. We can always label that just x comma y, and this is our slope. And once again, we use the letter m. And so we want to be able to find the line that goes through this point and has the slope of 1/3. Well, first step, we know that our slope, what's 1/3? Second step, what's our y-intercept? If you don't know your y-intercept, we have to use our point, -3 to x comma y, into our equation, y equals mx plus b. So let's plug it in. We have 2 equals our slope, 1/3, x, which is our -3, plus b. Next, we're just solving for our y-intercept. So, okay, we should simplify. 1/3 times a -3, put that over 1. Multiply across, we get -3 divided by 3, which would actually just be a -1. -1 plus b. Well, how do we get b all by itself? Add 1 to both sides, and you get your y-intercept equals 3. Well, that's pretty cool because then your last step is to rewrite it in slope-intercept form. So you have 1/3 x plus 3. second equation. Done. Now, it says write the equation that has the given x-intercept and the slope. Now some of you guys are going to freak out because you're like, I don't know a coordinate. We've worked with slopes and I've worked with a coordinate. Well, let's follow the steps and we'll see how easy this actually is. Well, first off, I should just erase that because your first step is to find out the slope. It's given to you. Second step, find your y-intercept. I'm going to explain why this is easy. If we graph our x-intercept at 6, simply means we have to go to the right, and I'm sorry, this line is a little wicked. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I asked you guys to say, what's the coordinates of that point? Many of you would say, oh, well, you went right 6, so that's your x value. Your y value, 0. And right there, you just found out 1 point. 6, 0. And so you're trying to figure out what's your y-intercept. So you can use your same steps, y equals mx plus b. You plug in your y value. Your y value, 0 in this case. So you have 0 equals, what's your slope? -2. Your x value is 6 in this case, plus b. -2 times 6 is -12, and you are trying to find your y-intercept. So the opposite of adding a -12 is, the opposite of subtracting 12 is adding 12, so that's going to cross out. You just found out that your y-intercept is 12. Awesome. Awesome, because then all you have to do, you find your slope right here given to you, you found your y-intercept, you plug in those two things, and you solve your third equation. Now, if you ever get confused over any of these steps, or if I'm going a little too fast for you to write these, because you should be writing these in your notebook, pause it, rewind it if you have to, rewind it 5 times, I don't really care. I'll still have the same positive attitude, because that's the cool thing about being able to just watch online. Now, I would highly suggest that, okay, write an equation to this line. Well, right now we don't know our slope, but can we find it? If this point is 3, -3, and this is 4, 1, well, how much do we have to rise? Because you know that slope is rise over run. So we count up 1, 2, 3, 4. You raise 4. You run 1. You just found out your slope is 4. Second step is to find your b-value, your y-intercept. So you're trying to figure out, this is your y-intercept in real life, it should be negative somewhere. Well, let's see if that's going to come true. So we have y equals mx plus b. Now the cool thing that I would have you do in class is I would split up half of you, and I would say, use this as your coordinate, and see if you get the same y-intercept as this half of plugging this point in. And that would be x comma y for both of these. But say we just use this one. And if you don't like to do what the teacher does, well, do this one and you'll get the same y-intercept. And so we plug in our -3 equals our slope, our x, plus b. And I'm just going to double check this. Y value is -3, slope was 4, x value is 3. Cool. This is going to be 12, so -3 equals 12 plus b. Opposite of a positive 12, or adding 12, is subtracting 12. And so we find out that our y-intercept is -15, which would be enough information to write out our equation like this. Now, if you were one of those people that like to prove me wrong, let's use this other point. So we have y equals mx plus b, but in this case our y value is 1, our slope is 4 as before, our x value is 4 plus b. And you have 1 equals 16 plus b, opposite of adding 16, subtracting 16, and you just proved that it doesn't matter what point you use on your line, as long as you use a point on your line, you will always get the same answer. Now, if you write it up a notch, and it says, write the equation of a line that is parallel to the given. So this is our given equation. And we want our new equation to pass through this point. That's where you're going to want to write down these steps. First thing, what is the slope? You get this from that equation. Second thing, you have to get your y-intercept. This is new. And then you rewrite it. So let's do this first thing. If we look at our slope, well, some of you guys would say our slope is x. No. Slope is the number before x, and because of that, our slope is 1. Second thing, let's find our y-intercept using the same exact steps that we have used before. Y equals mx plus b. Label our points, x, comma, y. Y is 0 in this case, our slope is 1, our x is -2 plus b. 1 times a -2 is -2. So you have 0 equals -2 plus b. Opposite of a -2 is adding 2 to both sides. And you just found out that your y-intercept is 2. And if we rewrite it, y equals x, or 1x, plus 2. And there you go. Find your slope from the old, plug in your points to find your y-intercept, plug them back in. Then if we keep going, we're going to write this equation, and I challenge you to pause it right now. After you write down this equation, y equals -1/3 x minus 1, find your slope, find your y-intercept, rewrite your equation. Now if you pause me, okay, our slope, we don't know what it is. But if we look at this equation and we know that parallel lines, the slopes are equal. The slope of one line has to be equal to the next. You know that it's a -1/3. You're almost halfway done. Then you have to find out your y-intercept. And if we did that, y, okay, this is your x value, this is your y value, y equals 1, your slope is -1/3, your x value is 4, plus b. 1/3 times, -1/3 times 4, well, it would equal -4/3 plus b, and the opposite of a -4/3 is adding 4/3 to both sides. 4/3, for those that already know, it's 1 1/3. So 1 1/3 plus 1 is 2 1/3 equals your b value. Now that's just talking about the y-intercept. So once again, we plug it back into our original equation, y equals mx plus b. We always plug in our slope and our y-intercept, so we get y equals -1/3 x plus 2 1/3. Now on your next test, this is like 4 points. So 1, finding the slope. Next thing, using your slope, plugging in your values, finding your y-intercept. Next, rewriting your equation and showing all your work. Right, Jacob? Then, you're done for the day. You get work time. Now, sometimes your book is nice and it gives you your slope and your y-intercept. It's as easy as just plugging those two values into your y equals mx plus b. Sometimes your book is going to give you the slope and a point. So then you just use your slope to find your your y-intercept, you plug it back in. And sometimes, and we're going to even focus on that more tomorrow, sometimes you're given 2 points like we did in one of the problems today. You have to find your slope between those 2 points. You find your y-intercept, you plug them back in. So with that being said, you will get the rest of the time to work. Please work quietly and efficiently. Thank you for listening. And thank you, Brooke, for recording.